Hi, I'm Mr. Futa, and I'm an instructor at the M.A.C. Barrientos Mexican American Cultural Center. I teach capoeira, I teach dance, a little bit of music, a little bit of visual art. And what I love about the ESB MACC is that we celebrate Latino cultures, artists, and people. I'm just going to pass it now to Miss Cassie. Hi, Miss Cassie.
Whoa! Did you all see that? That was so awesome. Hi everyone, I'm Miss Casita and I'm a teaching artist here at the Mexican American Cultural Center, here with my friend Larry the Lizard. He's going to be helping us make art all summer long. I'm a found object artist. That means I like to make things from things I find in the recycling bin, things outside, things just laying around the house that maybe would go into the trash normally. I like to reuse them and repurpose them in art. And you know what? My favorite part about working at the MACC is working with you all to see what you can create and how you use your imagination.
Oh, hey, how's it going there? My name is Arthur Moreno, and I am a teaching artist and activity specialist here at the M.A.C. Barrientos Mexican American Cultural Center. I grew up here in East Austin, and I have been working with the MACC for about 6 years now. I specialize in mixed media. I've taught ceramics, music, art, real-world issues, and I specialize in storytelling. What I love most about the MACC has to be the beautiful structure that Teodoro Gonzalez de Leon created alongside with the design team Casa Bella Architects. Teodoro captured a Mesoamerican look with a modern twist with hand-chiseled limestone that gives the building a unique look that adds texture and a visual punch as you walk through the 2-acre Zocalo while the sun creates self-directed shadows all around the building. And let me not forget about the absolutely stunning rainbow sherbet sunset that the Zocalo offers as it opens up towards Town Lake and its jogging trail. Absolutely gorgeous. For the rest of the staff here at the MACC and the city of Austin, we just want to thank you guys for joining us here online, and I hope you guys have a great time. Happy art making. An Empowered Village and Its Citizens. Story by Gloria Espetia and Michelle de Santiago. Edited by Marina Islas. A long time ago, on the east side of Austin, Texas, there was a street named Rainy. On that street, there were lots of houses where gente peacefully lived out their lives. In the summertime, Los Abuelos watched over the children as they played in the yards while mamas y papas were at work. As the sun would set and the street lights came on, tios would whistle and mamas would call for Los Jóvenes to come inside for dinner. The whole family would then gather at the table and share stories about their day. Next to Rainy Street was the Juárez Lincoln University, a place where young Latinx folks could learn about their roots. Students were encouraged to help their communities through volunteering. They then would come back to tell their classmates what they did and learned. The professors were very happy to be teaching there. It was one of the first places the Latinx community could celebrate their culture here in Austin. Juárez Lincoln was torn down after a while, leaving the community with few places to call their own. Rainy Street is close to Lady Bird Lake. This was another cultural space for the community. Neighbors would fish, have picnics, and enjoy nature together. Many people, however, would come and have parties at the lake. They didn't respect the environment and left trash everywhere. Not only in the water and on the ground, but even in the yards of the homes on Rainy Street. The people of the east side agreed they had to do something. Leaders of the community gathered together to discuss what should be done with the land next to the lake. After a while, they agreed that they wanted a place to celebrate Latinx culture, just like Juárez Lincoln University once was. Representatives from the community went to the city council to explain what they wanted to do with the land next to the lake. At first, they were rejected, but the gente did not give up. They tried again, and the council agreed to help establish a cultural center. It had taken many years, but finally, the land by the lake was reserved to one day become the Mexican American Cultural Center, the MACC. The MACC at the time was just warehouses. This didn't matter. At last, there was a place for the gente. A traditional Mexica ceremony to purify the land was performed using corpal and song. This cleansed the land of all negative things that had happened long ago. Only the good things remained, and the people could begin building the MACC with the blessing of their ancestors. The warehouses didn't have air conditioning in the summer or central heating in the winter. When the community put on the Christmas play, La Pastorela, space heaters had to be placed around the warehouse. Even so, many people came to see the plays that were held at the MACC. They were so happy to have a place for the community, to celebrate culture, get to know each other, and be together. Sometimes, the warehouse wasn't so safe for the community that used the space. Raccoons and mice would sneak in during the meetings and chase the people out. Time went on, and the people of Rainy Street continued to live their lives. Meanwhile, community advocates worked in partnership with the city to see that the MACC would be built. However, businesses started moving into Rainy Street, making it too expensive for families to stay and forcing them to leave. They hoped the MACC would honor and remember the history of Rainy. Some people say that you could see the fish jumping up from the water at night, but all this has changed. Though the neighborhood continued to change, the land by the lake remained dedicated to the community. The architect, Teodoro González de León, had a grand vision for the MACC. He imagined spaces for workshop, teaching activities, and exhibitions. The artist Benito Huerta designed the MACC's iconic snake path, inspired by the Mexican milk snake. This snake is found between the border of Mexico and the U.S., symbolizing the meeting and acceptance of two cultures. Mr. De Leon designed the MACC to have an open space, the Zócalo, where the community could gather. Talented Latinx musicians have performed at our signature events such as 16, Día de los Muertos, La Mujer, and the Awards of Excellence. Finally, in 2006, after 20 years of people working together, the MACC was ready to be built. They had a groundbreaking ceremony. The ground was dug up by city officials with shovels, symbolizing a new beginning for the Latinx community. A year later, the MACC was ready for everyone to enjoy. At the opening ceremony, there were musicians, Aztec dancers, and a ribbon-cutting ceremony. It was a very exciting time for everyone who had worked to see the MACC built. In 2011, the center was officially named the M.A.S. Barrientos Mexican American Cultural Center, ESB MACC, after M.A.S. Barrientos, who had been an important figure in the Latinx arts community. To this day, the ESB MACC stands out amongst the new buildings in the Rainy Street district. The ESB MACC is an active reminder of the strength and fortitude of the Latinx community. This will always be a place to celebrate Latinx culture and identity.
Hey everyone, here we are. We're outside of the Sam Z. Coronado Gallery. Sam Coronado was an amazing artist, print artist here in Austin. And we're going to go in and look at the gallery and see where your artwork could live one day. Okay, now here we are inside of the gallery. This is where our exhibits coordinator, Luis Gutierrez, sits. He decides what is going to go up on these walls next. And this is our gallery. You can see all this blank wall space. He just took down our last exhibit, and now he's ready to put up a new exhibit. And so what we want to know is what you would like to see on these walls. Your art could be here. And so think about it. Just think about what the community needs to see right now. Maybe it's just something fun and cool, but let your imagination run wild.
That's right, Miss Casita. And I, Mr. Futa, have an idea of an activity we can try. Just like it's Museum Day today, we also celebrated Mexican Independence Day this week. So what we're going to do is we're going to make una bandera del pueblo, A flag of the people. Let's go. Para ver la versión en español, visite www.vivamexico2020.net. For this project, you will need a pencil, scissors, something round like a cup, glue or a glue stick, pen or black marker, some paper, especially the colors of the flag, green, red, and white. Something to color with. So what is the flag of the people? It represents the people and the ideals that the independence movement stood for. An ideal is something that you believe is the best way to be, that you think you and others should work to achieve. So what we're going to do is just learn a little bit more about that history that led to independence. The Americas are home to hundreds of different indigenous or native nations. But over 500 years ago, Spain started sending soldiers, or conquistadores, to their homelands. Los Españoles made deals with a few of these nations to help them defeat their enemies, so long as Spain could take the lands, resources, and work of the defeated people. But Spain didn't stop there. And soon they invaded more and more nations. They forced native people to work for them, then enslaved people from Africa to keep making money. Soon the Spanish kings declared themselves rulers of most of North, South, and Central America, naming the central part Nueva España, or New Spain. As time went on, Nueva España developed a social order where people had more or less rights to freedom and opportunities depending on what racial or caste group they belonged to. Enslaved and free African descendants were at the bottom, enslaved and free native people just above them. Mestizos or mixed people were next, then Europeans born in the Americas, and finally Europeans born in Spain were at the very top. Now, does that sound fair to you? Although many nations and groups tried to get rid of the Spanish government over the centuries, none of them were successful until the 1800s. The people rose up for freedom and justice. They wanted to ban slavery, create racial equality, and allow regular people to have land. Eventually, the revolution was won, the new country of Mexico was created, and slavery was made illegal. Unfortunately, even today, many of the descendants of the people that fought still suffer from discrimination or unequal treatment. That's why it's important to keep standing up for the ideals of freedom and equality that the revolutionaries cried out for. So even though all this happened around 200 years ago, those ideals are still very important for us today, things that we need to continue to stand up and fight for. So now let's get to the activity. Pause the video whenever you need to catch up to my super speed. The first thing we're going to do is take a white piece of paper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a cup, hacer un círculo en el medio, así, and we're going to do the escudo nacional mexicano in the middle. It doesn't have to be perfect. We just want to have the eagle in there. We want to have the snake that it's eating and the nopal. Those are the main things. Once we have that, we can go over it in pen. Take an eraser and erase the pencil lines. I can color this in. So there we have the escudo nacional. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have two other pieces of paper. So different types of green, different types of red, like pink is a type of red. I'm just going to make sure these are the same size. You can make these how big you want to be. So they're just going to go on the side. So we can make the flag a bit wider. So I'm just going to line these up. Cut here. So that's the base of our flag there. We get some glue. Super speed. And I can stick these on. So we already have our flag. But we need to make it a flag of the people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another piece of paper. So this time a green one. I'm going to fold it in half. After that, I'm going to fold it in half again. Then I'm going to fold it in half again. Excuse me. And open it up. Now I want to cut down the middle here because we want to have two different sides. Super speed. I have this half of the paper. I'm going to fold it in half again, then in half, And now I'm going to fold in half again. I didn't do it before because it was a lot of paper. It can make it really hard to fold. Okay, awesome. So we have this little guy here. Get a pencil and I'm going to draw little like quarter circles in the corners. So they look like that. Okay. Now these are parts that are going to be the hands and they are not cut out. We can't cut these out. Okay. So we've got to make sure. That's why I'll make those little circles. Now what I'll do is I'm going to draw a person. This person has arms up. This is the basic. So we want to draw some arms going up to the hands and a head. And then the body's going to go here. Super speed! So that's our basic silhouette of a person. This person is from Chihuahua and they like to wear a hat. So they're going to have a hat on. So I've drawn my person. So now I'm going to cut them out. So remember, I don't want to cut this part here. I can't cut this side and I can't cut this side in the corners. So I want to make sure that I leave those parts uncut. So here I have my person, and if I open it up, I got two people. 2 times 2 is how many? 4 people. 4 times 2 is how many? 8 people. So with that, we've made 8 people already. So we're going to do the same thing with our other paper. Fold in half again, in half one more time. Okay, same process. Make sure I leave the spot for the hands. So this person is wearing a dress and they got long hair. So I'm doing it like that. So I'll cut it out like we did before. And then let's take a piece of white paper and a crayon, or you can use markers or coloring pencils. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make another version of the flag. So we have the 3 colors. And we have a green section and we have a white section and we have a red section. So now let's do the same process like before. I'll fold in half again. And we're going to make more people with the red and white pieces of paper, just like we did with the green one. Try to make each one different. Think of all the different kinds of people that are Mexican or Mexican American. Think of all the different regions that you have in Mexico that have all kinds of different clothes and different ways of wearing their hair. Once we've cut them all out and opened them up, then we can cut them to separate them into 2 different rows and then cut them again to separate them into pairs. And then we're just going to do the same thing with all of our little people. Separate them into pairs. Okay, so now I just have to work out how I want to put them down. Once we know how we want them to be, then we're going to start sticking them on. I have our flag. And a flag is beautiful, but we're not just celebrating Mexico and Mexico's independence. We're celebrating the people and we're celebrating the ideals that made people want to be independent in the first place. And with that in mind, let's get to the last part of the activity. I'm going to take another piece of paper, whatever color you like before. I'm going to fold it in half, fold it in half again, and then one more time to make 8s. This time I'm going to draw a speech bubble. So it's going to have a circle and then a little triangle to make it into a speech bubble. So now I'm going to cut them out. And we're going to place these around different spots on our flag. And on each one, we're going to put something that we think fits with the ideals of the independence movement. So here's my finished flag. It has some examples of the ideals of the independence movement and some things that are examples of working towards those ideals, like standing up against racism and for the rights of Native people. I'd really love to see what your ideals are and how you think you can stand up for them in the world. But anyway, I hope you enjoy the rest of the day and I hope you enjoyed our activity. See you next time.
Bye.